Good afternoon, and welcome to the Grapevine Podcast. I'm your host, Carl Lavender. The Grapevine Podcast is brought to you by the Power Broker Media Group, celebrating 20 years of bringing important information, dialogue, research, data, and possibilities to the Tampa Bay area. I am so glad, I'm almost stuttering, to have my guest today be Mr. Brian Peret. Peret. Hooray.
Parade.
Hooray.
Yes, sir. I like
Hooray
the
for
hat.
parade. There it is.
Hooray for parade.
I'm
Oh,
so glad
there
you're
you
here.
go. Starting stuff.
Brian is incredibly important to the development of industries that we know in the future will employ much of our community. And we want people to know more about that, to learn from Brian, to take copious notes as you listen to Brian, and then afterwards figure out where you want to land in this space of CodeBoxx and AI. But first things first, Brian, my good friend Brian, talk about you, how you got here, my friend, some personal values, and we'll go straight to the heart of the interview.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you for the opportunity. My brother, my friend, been happy to call you my mentor. I'm grateful for the invitation. I'm grateful that you are the one hosting this platform in our community. I believe that public discourse, conversation between two learned individuals who share the same mission and the same passion for this city of St. Petersburg. I'm grateful that you are the one carrying this torch on this. So before I begin, let me preface it with that.
Thank you.
Before we start talking about Brian Peret. And I am blessed to carry a powerful testimony, and I've been blessed to carry the testimonies of those that I've worked with, those that I've seen both here and gone. All right. One of the things that I believe strongly is that there's nothing more powerful than the power of testimony. And as I speak and as I share my story and the communities I am a member of and the things that we do, one thing I want everybody to remember is that you can do all this and greater things even still. Like if that rings true, it's because it comes from a book of truth and it's something I believe wholeheartedly. I have seen the depths that humanity can offer. I've seen the very darkness, addiction, incarceration, abuse. I have been on both sides of that. And it's because I've seen how dark things can get that I have such gratitude over the light that I get to share. So to those of you who are at the darkest, you have an opportunity yet to be a beacon. It's important for me to say that because at some point when I was at the bottom, somebody said it for me. Somebody was there for me. One of my favorite items in my job description is, it is my job to create momentum in people where it does not yet exist. I bet on people before they bet on themselves because people saw greatness in me when a time when the world had beaten out my own self-belief in my greatness. I'm speaking grandly. Let me speak a little more specifically. I was born and bred in Milwaukee,
a suburb of Chicago. No, just kidding.
It's all good. No. You know, one of the things that's interesting about Milwaukee is that statistically, and don't believe me, Google me, statistically, Milwaukee is the hardest place for a Black African-American to be raised. When you talk about joblessness, when you talk about incarceration, when you talk about violence, both sides of the book, I shouldn't be here. All right. But I am because I had a couple of key educators who saw promise in me. A couple of key people who believed in paying it forward, and they invested in me. And even when things were at their hardest, even when I was off on the street corner, when I was a knucklehead, when I was doing all kinds of things, that their belief in me never left me. And so that's something that I hold. Another thing that's foundational that I hold is something that my grandfather shared with me. And I was sharing this the other day with a bunch of young people at the Competitive Readers Coalition event. And what my grandfather shared with me is that, you know, Brian, this world will try, and at times it will succeed from taking things from you, right? This world will take people from you. Like, you think you own that home, you pay taxes, the government get eminent domain. We got a whole bunch of people on the 86 acres that can attest to that. But the one thing that this world can never take from you is your education. When I was in a prison cell, when I was at the bottom of a bottle, when I was unemployed, a bouncer at a country bar in Riverview, Florida, I still had my education. And so I would like for everybody who can hear me to take that to heart and invest in themselves and invest in their education. What's up, Carl?
Yes,
you want me to pause here for
and
a
I
moment?
applaud your courage, man. I applaud your courage. And then this leap. The thing about it is that the courage that we determine will oftentimes navigate our leap into where we ought to be, which is one of the values of discovering this kind of courage. And so your leap brought you across many pathways, but specifically in this CodeBox space. So for the benefit of the audience, give us the elementary version of what is CodeBox, and then we're going to talk about how it fits into the St. Petersburg or Bay Area economy going forward. So Brian, what is CodeBox?
Yeah. And I like how your perspective of courage and what that means, because ultimately that's one thing that we have spades of in our community, and that's one thing that you really need to succeed in the world of innovation. Right. So at CodeBox, I have the privilege of giving people access to the American dream by helping them amplify their superpowers through innovation and gaining access to this economy that is coming. There are a couple of things that I know from my observation and experience, and I imagine many of our listeners know the same thing. AI isn't coming, it's here. It is making real impacts. In my role here at CodeBox, I work for companies, construction companies, e-commerce companies, educational tech companies, large corporations, and small businesses. All of the smartest business people I know are using AI to get a return on investment, to automate menial tasks, to provide themselves more time and more opportunities to do higher level work. This is a very immature market. What that means is that there is opportunity for those who are willing to invest early on to reap the benefits of what is to come. I remember growing up hearing the stories of the secretaries at Microsoft who are now millionaires because they got in early. That is the opportunity we find ourselves as an industry in AI. I believe here in St. Petersburg, specifically, we have an opportunity to leverage outcomes for the better of our community using AI and innovation to provide pathways to careers that allow people to live comfortably in the city of St. Petersburg, where by last estimate, a single individual needs to make 6 figures in order to comfortably live here in St. Pete. As I look across the industries that are accessible to my community, I only see one industry that is consistently doling out 6-figure incomes.
Yes.
That's tech. And this is a felon talking to you. I'm a homeowner. I make 6 figures. I'm a leader in my community. And I didn't have to go to law school or med school or go into $100,000 of debt to get that additional education. What I needed a laptop, this thing I have right here. I needed some training like you can get at CodeBox. And I needed access to people who are hiring people like me. Carl, we know how powerful these AI tools, the most powerful tools that developers, that business people, and that entrepreneurs are using today have come out and have been developed in the last 6 months. And even still, there are more powerful tools that are yet to be developed in the next 6 months. We live in a reality in recognizing that it redefines what seniority means. It redefines what experience means. Like before, you used to have to go through 5, 10 years of sweat, grit, and grind. This is the path that I had to go through in order to become a junior developer, a senior developer. But what about those who don't have the years and don't have the time? At CodeBox, we have a program that will allow you to gain access to the job. Let me tell you what this program entails. We've got high school seniors coming on right now. They just graduated high school, and we've got some, and what I told them, this isn't a sales pitch, this is the truth. They came with us and started at CodeBox in the spring. They're giving me their summer. they're going to be buying Christmas presents this holiday
Some
season.
probably for the first time, huh?
Yeah, for the first time. Like, and these are the stories that I carry with me. The individuals who came to us because they heard about AI, because they wanted a job and they didn't know how they were going to get there. Right? We showed them what it means to be AI native, how to leverage the tools most strategically. And family, it doesn't require a 4-year degree. You don't need to be a math genius. All you need to do, you need 2 things. You need to be curious. You need to be resilient. My name is Brian Peret. You can go to my LinkedIn account. If you look at my byline, you'll see the same sentence that's been there for almost a decade. The only thing you need to do, family, is show up and care. Here at CodeBoxx, we've been showing up and caring since 2018. We've been doing it since 2022 here in St. Petersburg. Now we are based at the ARC Innovation Center in the Innovation District in the city that is an up-and-coming leader in innovation. The best and the brightest people in the world come to St. Petersburg. They love it. And
So what do you call that? It's got serendipitous collision, if you will. Could I say that?
Intentional
Intentional collision between
right. And so what we do is you put people in the same proximity who have a similar mission. That part is intentional, right? And then once you set that intention, the collision comes naturally. That's what we have here at ARC Innovation Center, where we have 45 companies on site, another 20 or some companies that are members of this. As the director of CodeBoxx Academy, I had active dialogue with many of them, trying to see what their needs are going to be, because, not every business is going to grow, but some of these businesses are going to spark. We've got a company down the aisle here, Seagate. They're going to launch rockets from space. It is my goal to have them doing that with a couple of CodeBoxx graduates on their team right here in St. Petersburg.
So CodeBoxx is embedded in the ARC Innovation Center, where the development of innovative practices, innovative solutions, innovative platforms is happening live. This sort of universe that you guys all occupy. But then again, if you're a lay person, and I'm walking around, I got my Starbucks coffee or whatever, and I'm just sitting on a park bench and I'm just chatting and thinking about my life going forward. And I think that that's too far ahead of my current skill set and understanding. Is that the truth about CodeBoxx? And is that the truth about the future of AI? Will AI outpace the skill development of the average worker in America, in Tampa Bay?
Thank you, Carl. And that is very much what motivates my presence in this conversation today. It is my job to educate our community and to dispel the notion that anybody within the sound of my voice, there's not a place for tech for you. Let me rephrase that. Everybody within the sound of my voice, there is a place for you in tech today. I am fully confident. And Carl, this isn't just talk. I have the testimonies of people who were literally stranded on a desert island. They were first made on a ship captain, on a boat. And they said, no, I want a different thing. They Googled what's the best career, coding. So they came to CodeBoxx. The barista that I knew at the kava shop down the road, as I was getting promoted at CodeBoxx, she got curious and came to work. She's making 6 figures, owns a condo down Water Street, Tampa. Cody, who was working at a halfway house, helping people go through recovery, found out about CodeBoxx, wanted to come here to show the people in his residence that you could do something more with your life. He just got an offer to make 6 figures going on beyond that. I'm talking about retired school teachers, people who are veterans, people like myself who've been impacted by criminal justice. I'm talking about mothers who are coming back to the workforce. I'm talking about high schoolers who don't have enough money for college. I'm talking about people who spent their 20s as a knucklehead like me and now want to get their life online. In the past 8 years, we have had 300 graduates who are working at over 100 companies right
Beautiful.
now.
Beautiful.
Vast majority of them don't have a college degree.
Now, there is something on the Grapevine. We said the Grapevine show. On the Grapevine. That AI might be challenging the CodeBoxx industry, and maybe the
when AI first came out, Sam Altman, his first prognostication, his first prediction was that in 5 years, we would have no more software developers. he reversed course on that
Yes,
within a
okay.
year. Right. Tampa Bay Tech had their Powered Up conference, and Hayes submitted their 2026 Tampa Bay jobs report, and they showed that less than 5% of jobs in all this time have been replaced by AI. What is happening? And those who use AI best do not use it as a substitution. Carl, family, there is no substitution for humanity. There is no substitution for humanity. That's one of the things that makes me like, please, because not only is my job not in danger, what I do is more
Tell me
valuable.
what. Tell me more. Tell me more. Go deeper
Because
there. Go deeper. Well,
yeah. So let me tell you what's been happening so far in Q1,
excellent.
Q2,
Please do.
2026. There are individuals out there. These are businessmen and women who are smart. People in the medical field, people in the construction field, people in the commerce field, people in the digital marketing field. They are hearing this AI discourse going on, and they're hearing about these tools, these vibe coding tools, right? Lovable or Google AI Studio or Claude Code. And they're taking their significant industry expertise and they're applying it to these tools, and they're creating proofs of concepts for tools and techniques and philosophies and ways to communicate quicker than they ever have before. Now, here's the part that has been awesome. Not one of very few of these individuals, I won't say not one because I don't like that kind of language, but very, very few of these individuals actually have the technical aptitude to leverage one of these AI tools to get a product that meets their own standards of excellence. Right? Just like, yes, I can drive a car, but if I want to win a race, I'm getting the Andretti. You know, it's the same analogy. And so one of the things happens, we're getting revenue from doctors who like, I've got this app, but I want to deploy it and I
I
want
was
to
just about
scale
to
it.
ask that question. Now you're in a tech hub. You feel good about that, obviously, and thank you for that, and good for St. Petersburg. But is this tech hub alongside investors, angel investors, as we used to call them back in the day, so that if I have an idea, I've got some startup capital. What's happening in the capitalization of entrepreneurial projects? Now I get the workforce piece. Thank you for elaborating on that. But I want to work for myself. Is there capital associated with you guys?
You've hit the issues right on the head. When I speak to small businesses and medium-sized businesses and individuals who are looking to start businesses, there are two main pain points. Finding quality teammates, that's where I come in, and finding capital. All right. And the environment for capital in the Tampa Bay region is good. It's growing. It's not great. You know, one of the things that we have in St. Petersburg, Tampa, Clearwater, Sarasota, that is unique to us is our collaborative spirit, right? And the projects that I've seen work best and the funding packages that I've seen work best leverage that collaborative spirit.
Okay. So the collaboration regarding app development is happening simultaneous with the full development of an app independently. And I say that because
Yeah, and some of that collaboration comes in the form of like a
that's what I'm
Sparklight
saying.
by Arc
Exactly right.
Invest,
Yeah.
like
Yes.
MR Collective, where like these small businesses are not left to fend for themselves. Like by recognizing there's entire communities of small businesses, places like Spark Labs can take advantage of economies of scale and provide services that are specific to the companies here that are above and beyond what you might be able to get at a co-working space. Right? Like here we had advising, we had access to the entire ARK Invest leadership team. You know, ARK Invest and Kathy Wood, they move their headquarters down here. Once every other week, one of their leadership team comes in and they lead workshops on marketing, on go-to-market strategy, on legal, on IP, on whatever aspect of small business is. Like these are the resources that we need more of, we need to invest more of, right? Because like when we look at business person, right? Return on investment. The amount of money that you get on an ROI is larger, the smaller the business is. Right? Because the ROI on zero is infinity. Right? And so like that's something that is embraced here and that people do. Like some companies don't make it, and it's been sad to see some not make it. But those that do benefit from this. And, you know, frankly, it's only been this effective since the new leadership has come in back in October, right? Carl, you've been in St. Pete for generations. I've been around here for a decade plus, and like this is
Absolutely.
new,
Question you
right? And so there's opportunity
good.
for more.
The CodeBoxx Academy is a 501c3 academy.
Thank you for that, right? Because like our organization is very important to how we can
But the
get these
academy
done.
itself,
So I-
the academy itself, being the corporation headquartered in
right,
St. Petersburg, houses the program,
right,
develops the relationships.
right.
What is the next step for CodeBoxx Academy, CBA as I call it? Where are you now? Where are you going? And are there any gaps that you'll be addressing in the next steps or the next development of CodeBoxx Academy?
Yes, thank you very much. And you know where we are very so the biggest shift that CodeBox took, we did in 2025 when we made the pivot to being full AI native, right? We saw it coming. We made the decision earlier than other people, and we've developed philosophies, white papers. We're at the point where our AI developers are working at companies right now, and we're getting feedback from those companies on how to improve those best practices. And in that, that's really opened up where CodeBox is going to go, right? It is so in 2025 we created what we call our elite circle, our elite partnership circle, right? And this is a circle that we offer to a small number, 4 or 5 we have capacity for. Right now we're at 2. And these are companies that have a direct pipeline from CodeBox students to a real job. So one of our first inductee to this was VideoAmp. In January, we had 7 of our graduates hired, all full-time jobs. And what that entails is really revolutionizing workforce development. So imagine as an employer, what if I could guarantee you an employee that already knows how to work in your environment, already knows how to use your technologies, you already know as a culture fit, and you've had 3 opportunities to interview them over the past 2 months to say yes or no before you even commit. And by the way, even if you commit and you're working with them and it doesn't necessarily work out, we have the opportunity to bring you another one as we take that one and bring them
Do
back
you
to
think
solutions.
that in your experience here, and you can be as candid as possible, do you think that we are living in an age where culture will matter as much as it did in the last 25 years? Or is this going to be driven by tech platforms where it doesn't matter what culture, because AI is invisible as the programmer? And so, are we moving toward that culture where it's all about the capability and the competency and the availability of the person, as opposed to culture, race, gender, all of it?
I think I have 3 conclusions for you there. One is that yes, there is a concern that use of AI creates a homogenization of culture. If everybody's using the same tools, they're getting the same voice, right? The other one is that I think, and it depends on how you define culture. We maybe get off my lawn old guying it, but like many metrics show that like culture is on a decline. Like when you look at some creativity stuff, how we impact with social media, communities aren't as big, people don't go to church as much. There's all kinds of indicators, right? Populations decline. We're not having as many people. So like culture is, ain't as vibrant as it once was. So I think that observation is independent of how important culture is. And so when you ask the final question, is culture going to matter? My answer, my informed opinion, my hope, my faith is yes. Culture must matter because these tools will only do what we tell them to do. If we tell them to be more human, they will strive to be more human. That means we must be more human ourselves. You remember the game Telephone when we were in like day camps and stuff like that, where I would say a word and you would go around and you would whisper and you whisper it. And by the time you come around, platform turns into plantain, right? Like these tools are very much that they will do the best that they can to reproduce faithfully what you give them. But in order for them to reproduce it faithfully, you have to say it super clear. Sometimes you have to repeat it. Sometimes you have to say it from different ways, right? AI is a very faithful, but depth lacking.
Absolutely. The society that you are creating, that AI and CodeBoxx is creating,
Yes.
is an important one for the future of our city. So, in the last few minutes of this, aligning your results and your impact with the future of our city in terms of its own need for technology, are you seeing synergy, or are you seeing the tech industry sort of, I don't know, blocking it or locking it, but are they open to including you in much of those discussions as we grow the
Yes, the tech industry has been great partnerships, right? Like it's other sectors of our culture which have been a challenge, right? And here's the thing that I state, and I challenge anybody to test the veracity of this statement. There's nobody doing more for workforce in St. Petersburg right now than CodeBox.
Say it again.
There is nobody doing anything more, creating jobs, paths to workforce in real careers that leverage innovation that is making St. Pete the best city it is today. There's nobody doing that better than CodeBox. If you want to be a part of it, if you want to find a way to maximize your impact to make this city better, my argument is there's no better place for you to do it than joining up with us, than aligning with us, than supporting the students who graduate from
excellent
CodeBox.
So any final words from Brian Peret? Peret.
Certainly, I'll end it as I started it, with a note of gratitude for my brother Carl Lavender, for gratitude for this platform, for my unconditional and passionate and ever-growing love for the first city that ever accepted me for who I really am. Yes, St. Petersburg, I'm talking about you. I love you very much.
Beautiful. Ladies and gentlemen, it was so great to talk to Brian on his way. Brian, hooray, hooray.
That's right. Hooray for
Brian's
hooray.
on his way. A resource not to be second guessed. So if people want to reach you, Brian, with any more questions about CodeBox, get involved in the Academy, go on and share that phone number and that address for the viewers.
Certainly. I'm not going to share my phone number, but you can reach me at brian@codeboxx.com. That's CODEBOXX. Brian Peret. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Facebook. I'm on LinkedIn, as is CodeBox. That's CodeBox with 2 X's. If you're on the streets long enough, you'll see me riding by on my bicycle. If you're at the chamber long enough, you'll see me leading a meeting. If you're at the Innovation Center, come join our AI Salon. Our next one is June 17th, right here at ARC Innovation Center.
Thank you very much, Brian. To the Grapevine viewers, you've heard from Brian. Yes,
Grapevine.
It's on the Grapevine. It's on the Grapevine. AI is next. Listen, is AI going to replace Mr. Carl? It could happen. It could happen. I want to buy that model. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you, Brian, for joining us. Stay tuned for the next call.